Suspicious packages to Democratic Party figures. The U.S. Attorney General announces new strategies to address the opioid epidemic. And in sports, the Ohio women's soccer team is finishing its season today. We'll have the recap. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Abby Grisey. Thanks for joining us. Investigators believe some of the suspicious packages targeting several prominent Democratic figures this week may have been sent from Florida. Officials are scrambling to find any additional clues which could lead them to a suspect. Karen Kaifa is in New York with the latest.
A nationwide manhunt is underway to track down who is responsible for sending several pipe bombs over the last few days. Early Thursday, a suspicious device was recovered in New York addressed to actor Robert De Niro, and authorities discovered two packages like the others in Delaware addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden. The devices recovered are similar to those sent this week to several prominent Democrats, including former President Barack Obama and Bill and Hillary Clinton, as well as to former CIA Director John Brennan at CNN's office at the Time Warner Center building in New York, which prompted an evacuation.
FBI, ATF are working on this, and I want to thank all of our law enforcement officers in dealing with explosive devices.
The FBI says it's possible more devices could have been sent to additional locations. Several of the targets have been vocal critics of the current administration.
Someone's trying, or some group of people are trying to terrorize us, trying to get us to lose faith in our government, in our institutions, in our society. We have to respond with consistency and not allowing ourselves to be undermined.
The FBI's counterterrorism division is leading the investigation, and President Trump has promised to provide whatever federal resources are necessary. In New York, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The total count of suspicious packages is at 10 right now. Ohio Governor John Kasich says President Trump and the media need to calm down. Kasich appeared on CNN today. He says at first he was praising Trump for doing an interview. However, he does not support the president's tweet attacking the media.
I was concerned but was hopeful that perhaps he could get to the point where he could unite the country. I've now become convinced, absent a Damascus Road experience, I've become convinced that he's not capable of this. He is not capable of being a unifier. In fact, I've become convinced that he doesn't know how to accept personal responsibility and always finds somebody else to blame.
Kasich has reached his term limit. Mike DeWine and Richard Cordray are up against each other in the governor's race. Trump is endorsing DeWine. The bond is set at $5 million for a suspect in the Kroger shooting that left 2 people dead. Police say the incident happened yesterday afternoon at a Kroger in Jeffersontown, Kentucky. Jeffersontown's police chief says 2 people were killed. The county coroner's office identified them as a man and a woman.
I'm just sick and heartbroken and quite angry. I feel that way about any act of violence and cruelty. We are one city, one proudly diverse and welcoming city.
A Kroger spokesperson says the store will remain closed until the investigation there concludes.
Today's weather, as we got cloudier throughout the day, we only reached a near only 51 degrees throughout the day today, which is very cool for this time of year. As we head in, this will be the last quiet day ahead. Right now here in Athens, it is 48 degrees under cloudy skies. Today will be our last little quiet weather day as we will have systems moving through tomorrow. Across the region, it's 48 in Athens, 48 in Columbus, 47 in Newark, and our warm spot down in Ironton at 51 degrees. Looking into tonight, lows will be in the lower 40s to upper 30s around the region. It'll be mostly cloudy skies as cloud cover will be moving into the region with the system moving through. That'll give us chances of rain into the day tomorrow. And I will say we need rain here as we had this little quiet and dry spell for a long time here, Abby. So just getting a little rain, even though it's Halloween weekend, it'll be some good for us.
Thanks, Jake. The U.S. Attorney General has new strategies to combat the opioid crisis. Today was the first ever National Opioid Summit at the Justice Department in Washington. More than $100 million will be funded for the initiatives. This is the latest step by the Trump administration after the president deemed the epidemic a public health emergency last year. The CDC says more than 72,000 Americans died from drug overdoses last year. And U.S. Justice Department officials say a new law enforcement strike force is being formed to combat opioid abuse in Appalachia. The group will investigate healthcare fraud schemes and prosecute medical professionals and others involved in the illegal distribution of opioids. Law enforcement and federal prosecutors will join together. Participants will include the FBI, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, and the Inspector General. The Kentucky Attorney General says he'll bring another lawsuit related to the epidemic. The 8th opioid-related lawsuit will be against a pharmaceutical company contributing to the state's opioid problem. Beshear has already sued distributors AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, and McKesson Corporation. He has also filed lawsuits against pharmaceutical manufacturers Johnson & Johnson, Walgreens, Mallinckrodt, and Endo Pharmaceuticals. Beshear's office has awarded a contract to a group of private law firms to work on the lawsuits. Republican Governor Matt Bevin's administration has attempted to cancel that contract, but was overruled by a state judge. The number of methamphetamines and amphetamines overdose deaths is 5,000% more than 8 years ago. The Ohio Alliance of Health Sciences and Professions says the number of unintentional overdose deaths in 2017 was more than 500. In 2010, it was only 9. Most of those deaths also involved the opioid fentanyl. Franklin County had the highest percentage of overdose deaths from 2010 to 2017. The Federal Drug Enforcement Agency will sponsor another National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday. The day is to allow safe disposal of leftover medications. Athens Police will hold the event at the Athens Elks Lodge parking lot from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The West Virginia Supreme Court justice who resigned before his colleagues were impeached can no longer practice law in the state. The Charleston Gazette-Mail reports the state Supreme Court annulled Menace Ketchum's license to practice law. Ketchum pleaded guilty to one felony count of wire fraud. He used a state vehicle and gas fuel card for personal use. The former judge will be sentenced in December. The impeachment probe was sparked by questions involving more than $3 million in renovations to justices' offices. The timing of his resignation also means voters will choose his replacement instead of the governor. The Ohio Supreme Court will look at a case of the fight over an Ohio law giving unelected CEOs control over poor-performing school districts. The court accepted the case challenging divisive changes in the so-called Youngstown Plan and how they were pushed through the legislature in one day in 2015. The bill also gave Ohio academic distress commissions more power to close schools or replace staff. Murray State University is offering tuition discounts for military students, allowing them to earn their college degrees at little or no out-of-pocket costs. The school in Western Kentucky says the initiative is available to service members in the U.S. Armed Forces. It's available to military students interested in pursuing undergraduate or graduate degree programs. Officials say the school will now waive course fees, providing free textbooks and matching remaining tuition costs not covered by the U.S. Department of Defense Military Tuition Assistance Program. Students can take classes at either the main campus or the branch campuses. Ohio will spend more than $1 million to expand its anti-elder abuse efforts. The Department of Job and Family Services says the investment includes a federal grant of more than $900,000. The money will help launch a year-round public awareness campaign and also develop an online referral system for reporting suspected elder abuse. The migrant caravan continues to grow on its way to the U.S. What President Trump's plans are to keep them out. This story and more when Newswatch returns.
This fall is going fast. But don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall, which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you. And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage. So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
The number of migrants marching north toward the U.S. is growing, and the Trump White House vows to keep them out. John Lawrence reports.
More than 7,000 migrants keep pushing north toward the U.S., fighting fatigue during the day, sleeping on the ground at night. They say they hope for a better future.
There isn't any work here, she says. We've nothing to live on.
Brian Covedreles spent most of his life in Texas until he was deported to Honduras a few weeks ago. He's walking back to reunite with his 3-year-old daughter.
She's the one who actually needs me the most, you know, so, and I don't want her to grow up without me.
The caravan is over 1,000 miles away from the U.S., and things could get more difficult if they reach the border.
Wait till you see what happens over the next couple of weeks. You're going to see a very secure border. You just watch. Just watch. Very secure. And the military is ready.
Mr. Trump is not the only one talking tough about the migrants. Republican House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy told North Dakota radio station WZFG that the caravans might be politically motivated. And as U.S. officials engage in talks with Mexico about how to handle the upcoming situation, a second caravan, made up of about 2,000 people, is also trekking toward the U.S. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Mexican immigration officials have started to process asylum requests for nearly 3,000 Central Americans. A few hundred others have voluntarily agreed to head back to their home country. More cases are popping up from a virus that has killed a dozen children. How you can protect yourself. That story's still ahead.
Coming up, I'll give you tonight's forecast for the football game here on the campus. And rain isn't a chance for this weekend, and there's a big temperature change coming in our 7-day here right next on Newswatch.
Member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jake Niederbaumer. Right now here in Athens, it is 48 degrees outside under cloudy skies, with today being our last little quiet weather day until the next system moves through. I'll be more into that here in a minute. Right now around the region is 48 degrees in Athens, 51 in Ironton, 46 in Chillicothe, and 47 in New Lexington, just in the mid-40s around the region. Looking at the precipcast for tonight. This low pressure system will be moving off into our region as high pressure will move off to the east throughout the night. And into tomorrow, we will get cloud cover and rain chances that start early into the morning tomorrow. And then looking into tomorrow night, it's just the same story as that low just hangs around the coast and just gives us chances of rain throughout the whole entire weekend as we look ahead. Looking into tonight, it'll be 38 degrees outside. A little cold and chilly conditions, definitely jacket weather with winds out of the east at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Looking into tomorrow, it'll be 50 degrees for the high. It'll be rainy starting early in the day, somewhere around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. into tomorrow, with winds out of the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Tonight around the region, it'll be 38 in Athens, 40 in Chillicothe, 42 in Ironton, 41 in Ripley, and then 39 up here into Columbus. And looking into tomorrow, it'll be 52 in Ripley, 52 in Ironton, 51 in Jackson, and 50 up in Chillicothe. Looking in hour tomorrow, it'll be a cold start into tomorrow, but that chance of rain, like I said, will be around 9 a.m., and then by 11 a.m., it will be rainy across the region. Looking at the football forecast for tonight, it'll be a cool start at 7 p.m. as they're about to kick off. Looking into tonight, it'll be a little cooler as the night goes on, but as we get to the end of the game, you'll want to bundle up as it will get chilly outside. Looking into the next 7 days, it'll be 50 degrees on Friday. That rain will move in as that low pressure system moves through. It'll be 52 on Saturday with that rain just keeps sticking around. Lows will be into the lower 40s into Friday and Saturday. Sunday, we will have a chance of rain through the beginning of the day, but the rain chances should subside as the night goes on. Monday, cloudy skies will stick around as the system just keeps sticking around. And then into the start of our next week, we begin a little bit of a warm-up. It doesn't really seem like much fall, but we get another system moving through Wednesday into Thursday that'll give us rain chances throughout, and temperatures, look at Wednesday, into the mid-60s around. So a little warm up, doesn't seem like fall, but it's just something we got to deal with here in the great state of Ohio. So just enjoy the warm weather next week, and fall will soon to show up right again for us, Abby.
Thanks, Jake. At least 7 children have died from an outbreak of adenovirus at a nursing and rehab center in New Jersey. Health officials are tracking at least 11 more confirmed cases from that same facility, and they are working around the clock to keep the outbreak contained. Mary Maloney has more on the virus and what you can do to protect yourself from it.
There are many different ways that adenovirus can manifest as illness. You can get pink eye, as the governor had said, or cough. You can get bronchitis, pneumonia.
There are more than 50 strands of adenovirus. And if you're infected, it can often feel like you're coming down with the common cold or the flu, bringing on similar symptoms like fever, headaches, body aches, breathing problems, and sometimes eye infections. Like the flu, it can spread quickly, silently, and it can be a killer, especially in people with weak immune systems.
They're often transmitted not only by sneezing and coughing, but also if the particles that are passed from your sneezing and coughing end up on other objects or particles around you, and other people go and touch it, and then touch their mouths or nose without washing their hands. That's how they can obtain the virus.
Officials urge no one should panic about this outbreak spreading. That adenovirus poses no threat to the public at large, but there are ways you can keep yourself protected.
Let's all do the smart, simple things like washing hands and keeping hands away from eyes and coughing and sneezing and like this as opposed to like this, and the basic stuff.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
For more details, go to cdc.gov. Now let's head over to Paul to see what's coming up in sports.
I'm Paul Roth, and today in sports, I'll give you my picks for this week's slate of TVC games. Plus, the Bobcats are set to kick off any minute now. Preview of their matchup with Ball State next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
A box that showed you This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
This fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall, which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you. And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage. So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back, I'm Paul Roth. The Ohio University soccer team just wrapped up their final game of the season. The Bobcats took on the Kent State Flashes earlier today, looking to end their season on a high note. But alas, it was not to be. The Flashes beat the Bobcats 1-0 on a goal in the 48th minute by Matty Holmes. But while the Bobcats suffered a tough loss to end their season, they'll have a shot at revenge soon. They're set to face this same Kent State team again Sunday in the first round of the MAC tournament. On the diamond, the Boston Red Sox now have a 2-0 lead in the World Series after downing the Los Angeles Dodgers again, this time 4-2. After pitching a gem in the ALCS to get the Red Sox to the World Series, David Price was again masterful last night. He did 6 innings of work, only giving up 2 runs and striking out 5. Potential AL MVP Mookie Betts was knocking the ball around all over the field as he went 3 for 4 on the night. But the hero of the game was J.D. Martinez. 5th inning, things knotted at 2. Ryan Madsen winds and deals, and Martinez takes the middle-in fastball to the opposite side of the field for a single to score 2, giving the Red Sox a lead. They never surrendered. Game 3 is tomorrow night in L.A. Over on the gridiron, the Ohio University football team is set to kick off against Ball State soon. The Bobcats were electric last Saturday against Bowling Green. How electric? Well, quarterback Nathan Rourke had just 8 completions, and 4 of them were touchdowns. They'll be looking to ride his hot hand in tonight against a struggling Ball State team that was blown out last week against NIU. Kickoff is in about 5 minutes. Another edition of Thursday Night Football in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins are headed to Houston to take on the Texans. Both teams are 4-3 coming into the game, but they got there in much different ways. After starting the season 3-0, the Dolphins have dropped 3 out of their last 4 games. But the Texans are scorching hot as they've won 4 straight coming into tonight. Kickoff is set for 8:20. We've covered college, we've covered the NFL. Now it's time for some high school football. It's Thursday, so that means some more Gridiron Glory Pick'em. My colleague Tyler Corbett and I have been picking the winners for each week's slate of TVC Ohio and Hocking games. He's 27-10, and I'm 22-3. So here are my picks for Week 10. First up in the Ohio, the Athens Bulldogs will take a bite out of rival Nelsonville York and come home a winner 42-30. And after an upset of that same Buckeye team, the Vinton County Spartans will look to do it again and take down Wellston. Running back Cade Sibner leads the Ohio in rushing yards and is picking up nearly 10 yards per carry. I'm picking him to run all over Wellston and the Spartans to beat them 28-22. The Meigs Marauders will go to Alexander and finish down the Spartans 30-10. And finally, in an Ohio Hocking matchup, River Valley will travel and fall to South Gallia 26-7. Now in the Hocking, Trimble has been dominant all year. Whether it's Connor Wright between the tackles or Cam Kittle through the air, there is no stopping this Trimble offense. But that's if you can even score on their defense, which has blanked 6 of their 9 opponents this season. I'm saying they'll do it again, 50-0 Tomcats over Wahama. Southern is looking to bounce back after their loss to that same Tomcats team, and I'm saying the Tornadoes will blow into Eastern and sweep the Eagles away 35-7. Waterford is going out to Belpre, and this Wildcats team is one of many teams in the Hocking that relies heavily on their run game. Their back, Braden Belleville, is 3rd in the Hocking in rushing, but Belpre says that's fine because they got the top rusher in the conference, Jesse Collins, manning their backfield. However, I think Waterford is a little bit more well-rounded, and they're going to take this one 40-22. And finally, I don't see things getting much better for Federal Hocking. Miller was going to win this one 40-0. I'm Paul Roth, and that's all for sports. Back to you, Abby.
Thanks, Paul. Take a look at this. An Oregon-based nonprofit is helping a young girl with a terminal illness have a magical Halloween. The girl's wheelchair is being transformed into a costume. Over those 2 months, Bonnie used insulation foam and other materials to transform the chair into this Minnie Mouse. Now, Jake, let's take a final look at weather.
Thanks, Abby. Into tonight, it'll be 38 degrees. It'll be like the mid-30s, around the region for tonight. Looking at the football forecast, it'll be 48 at 7, 46 at 9, and 43 down at 11. We'll bundle up by then. Looking into the next 7 days, we get a little rain chances coming into the weekend, but as we go into next week, we get a nice little warm-up coming into with a chance of rain coming in for us going into the next 7 days.
Thanks, Jake. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Abby Grisey. Have a great night.